Here's a look at a recap of your markets on this Tuesday, the second day of August. Being a holiday shortened week, a lot of the auction barns were closed, especially early in the week this week. We'll start to pick up more data as the week progresses. We did have a couple auctions around the state today, and we'll look at some of the highlights from those barns here shortly. But first, let's take a look at the Missouri Crop Progress Report. For the week ending August 31st, there was 6.6 days suitable for field work. Topsoil moisture, the supply was rated at 12% very short, 38% short, 45% adequate, and 5% surplus. Subsoil moisture ratings declined slightly this week as well, 4% very short, 32% short, 64% adequate, and 0% surplus now. Corn in the dough stage reached 97%. That compares right in line with the 5-year average of 96%. Corn dented is now at 78%, which is slightly ahead of the 5-year average of 70%. Corn matures at 34%. That's quite a bit ahead of the 5-year average of only 22%. Corn condition rated at 1% very poor, 4% poor, 16% fair, 62% good, and 17% excellent. Taking a look at the soybean crop, 89% of the crop has now setting pods. That compares to the 5-year average of 86%. Soybeans dropping leaves is now at 11%, which compares to the 5-year average of 7%. Soybean condition rated at 1% very poor, 6% poor, 23% fair, 62% good, and 8% excellent. Saw a bit of decline in pasture conditions as well this week, 2% poor, 2% very poor, 9% poor, 24% fair, 61% good, and 4% excellent. There was some noted hay feeding now taking place in some areas of south central Missouri. Rains down there have been very spotty, and a lot of it just depends on where you were setting. Some areas still fairly decent, but there are areas that have gotten very dry, and there is some supplementing feeding taking place now. Taking a look at auction data from around the state today, that CME feeder cattle index based on an 800-pound steer up through the 12-state feeding region set a new record once again today, 365.52. At Ozarks Regional Stockyards in West Plains, they're going to have just a few shy of 2,000 head through the barn there today. A few stick-out sales we've seen there at West Plains. A full load of 809-pound steers sold at $369.50. Had a small package of 515-pound heifers in West Plains sell at $420. A small package of 734-pound heifers in West Plains at $367.50. Kingsville Livestock Auction, they're going to have somewhere around 800 to 900 head when everything's said and done today. A couple of stick-out sales there included 13 head of 720-pound steers. Now, these were tagged as thin flesh, but they sold for $425 once the gavel hit the barn. 60 head, a full load of 824-pound steers at Kingsville, $373. Box beef cutout values, choice lost $1.99 today, closing at $413.42. Select was down $383 at $386.17. Volume 122 loads of cuts, trimmings, and grinds for the day. The choice select spread at $27.25. Negotiated feedlot trade. Last week, when all was said and done, 59,650 head of confirmed negotiated sales. Live sales, the weighted average price for the week, $244.05. That was up 20 cents. Dress sales, weighted average price of $385.86. That was down 14 cents for the week. So far this week, really nothing reported. 128 head so far. They were all outside the 5-state feeding region. Live sales reported 246 to 246.50, very likely heading to some regional packer. The market overall not even remotely established yet this week. Taking a look at the futures markets on Monday, live cattle for October down 12 cents at $239.52. December $241.15 up 37. February at $242.47 up 22. Feeder cattle, September was down 52 cents, 364.25. October down 77 at 363.70. November down 12 cents at 363.47. Lean hogs for October 95.55 up 52. December 88.17 up 77. And February 90.07 up 45. Turning our attention to the grain markets at the elevators around the state on Monday, soybeans were 11 to 13 cents lower, wheat was down 8 to 11, and corn was mixed, 10 lower to 5 higher. Corn bids at the elevators in St. Louis, $4.13, Kansas City at $4 even. Soybean bids in St. Louis, $10.14 to $10.15, Kansas City at $9.56. Wheat bids in St. Louis, $4.74 to $4.76. On the board of trade today, corn contracts all closed slightly higher. September up a nickel at 4.03. December new crop 4.23 up 2 3/4. March at 4.40 3/4 up 3. September beans 11 lower, 10.25 3/4. November new crop beans lost 13.5, closing the day at 10.41. January down 13 at 10.59.5. Wheat contracts, September down a nickel at 5.13, December 5.28 1/4 down 6, March at 5.44 1/2 down 7.5. Soybean meal for September down $8.10 a ton, $275.50. Soybean oil for September up 50 cents a hundredweight at $51.97. With the Missouri Department of Agriculture, that's a recap of your markets for Tuesday. This is Tony Hancock.